Hi everyone, and welcome back to the movie podcast that no one asked for. I'm your host Alia, and in today's episode we are going to be discussing the movie I, Tonya, another personal favourite of mine, in fact one of my favourite movies of all time. And we're going to be going over actor bios, the production behind the film, some fun behind the scenes facts, and some iconic quotes and scenes from the movie too, as well as their awards and nominations. So without further ado, let's jump into it. As always, I will give you guys a brief synopsis of the film. This is a true story of figure skater Tonya Harding and her controversial career. Having grown up poor with no father and an abusive mother, Tonya attempts to make it big in figure skating despite all of the odds being stacked against her, especially in a sport driven by money, class and glamour. Tonya quickly proves her talent for the sport from a young age, so much so that she eventually reached a career high of second in the world, but not before an incredible amount of personal turmoil, discrimination, toxic relationships and heartbreak, all of which are explored in this incredible film in painstaking detail. The documentary-like / reality TV-like confessional scenes add an extra dimension with unreliable narrators and a raw back and forth between characters. The director for this film was Craig Gillespie. Some of his feature films include Mr. Woodcock, Lars and the Real Girl, Fright Night, $1 Million Arm, The Finest Hours, Cruella, the live-action version, Dumb Money, and Supergirl, which is releasing later this year. Some of his television and streaming credits include United States of Tara, Physical, Pam and Tommy, Mike, Your Friends and Neighbours, and The Better Sister. The production of this film involved Lucky Chap Entertainment, which is Margot Robbie's company that she co-founded with her partner Tom Ackerley, as well as their friend Josie McNamara. So the producers for this film naturally include Margot Robbie, Tom Ackerley, Stephen Rogers and Brian Unclus. The screenwriter for the film was Stephen Rogers, with the budget being $11 million. However, they grossed over $53.9 million in the box office worldwide. The first actor that we're going to be discussing today is Margot Robbie, who plays Tonya Harding. I'm sure all of you are familiar with her name. She was in Wolf of Wall Street as Naomi, which is actually her first ever Hollywood film, which is a very impressive title to have for your first ever film. She was Barbie in the Barbie movie that came out in 2023. I also did another episode on that if you want to go check it out. She was in Focus as Jess Barrett, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as Sharon Tate, Babylon as Nellie Leroy, and Bombshell as Kayla Popisil, which also earned her an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. A fun fact about Margot is that for her training as Harlequin, she had to learn to hold her breath underwater for an impressive 5 minutes. And I will talk about the training that she had to go through for this movie too later on in the episode. Robbie is also a metalhead and famous for giving her friends and co-stars tattoos, and I highly recommend you guys check out the clip of her giving someone a tattoo on the Graham Norton show. It's brilliant. It's very good entertainment too. Next up we have Alison Janney, who plays Lavona Golden, aka Tonya's mother. You will know her from The West Wing as CJ Gregg, The Diplomat as Grace Penn, Lou as Lou Adel, Juno as Bren McGuff, The Help as Charlotte Phelan, 10 Things I Hate About You as Ms. Perky, and Finding Nemo as Peach. Janney actually wanted to be an Olympic figure skater in real life too. In fact, this role was written for her. However, those dreams were ended when she ran blindly into a glass door and suffered a severe injury. I didn't get too many details on what exactly that injury was, but I'm going to assume it was some sort of head trauma or head injury, because figure skating is extremely dangerous, especially where, you know, you're doing jumps or all sorts of lifts in with solid ice beneath you, and you can die, especially if you've already got a severe injury. So she was sadly not able to pursue that side of her career. However, she did pursue her career in acting after Paul Newman and his wife encouraged her to move to New York to pursue acting after she was in a play with Paul Newman. She was also a photographer for National Geographic when she was first starting out as an actress. Next up we have Sebastian Stan, another name I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. He plays Jeff Galooly. You will know him from the MCU as Bucky Barnes, Pam and Tommy, where he plays Tommy Lee, also directed by Craig Gillespie, A Different Man, where he plays Edward, Fresh as Steve, Gossip Girl as Carter Bazin, Fjord as Mihai Gorgu, and The Covenant as Chase Collins. Stan was born in Constanta, Romania, before moving to Vienna at 8 and then New York at 12. He is fluent in Romanian, and his mother is a pianist who named him after famous composer Johann Sebastian Bach. Lastly, before becoming serious about acting, he considered pursuing a career in astronomy because of his love and passion for the subject. Next up we have Caitlin Carver, who plays Nancy Kerrigan. You will know her from The Matchmaker's Playbook, where she plays Blake, The Rachels as Rachel Richards, Call of the Void, where she plays Moray, Diamond in the Rough as Skylar Harrison, Paper Towns as Becca, Hayseed as Cassandra, and Dear White People, where she plays Muffy. Caitlin actually has a background in dance, and before her acting career took off, she's a professional dancer who performed on tour and in music videos with major recording artists like Beyonce, Neo, and Pitbull. So she is no stranger to complex choreography and probably took to the skating much easier than a lot of people would have. We have McKenna Grace, who plays a young Tonya Harding. Some of her credits include every movie ever that has ever existed. No, but on a serious note, some of her credits include Regretting You as Clara Grant, Gifted as Mary Adler, Captain Marvel as young Carol Danvers. She's also in the upcoming Hunger Games movie Sunrise on the Reaping as Maisley Donner, The Haunting of Hill House as young Theo, and The Handmaid's Tale series as Esther Keyes. She's a fantastic actress and has been from an extremely young age. I'm talking about like 4 or 5 years old. She's been incredible in everything that she does. And yeah, it is sort of an ongoing joke that she is in everything, and she has played a young version of many actresses in a lot of films. I can't wait to see what she does next. She's very much growing into her own as well. A fun fact about McKenna is that she won the title of Tiny Miss Texas in 2009, and says that her inspiration to start acting was when her great-grandmother gave her a CD of Shirley Temple films. She also had to learn to ice skate for I, Tonya, which is a lot of dedication and talent for a young actress. Now we have Paul Walter Hauser, who plays Sean Eckhart. He is in Blackbird as Larry Hall, Richard Jewell as Richard Jewell, Luckiest Man in America as Michael Larson, The Naked Gun as Captain Ed Hockin Jr., Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere, the Bruce Springsteen biopic, as Mike Batlin, Americana as Lefty Ledbetter, and the Cruella live action, also directed by Craig Gillespie, where he plays Horace Baden. Paul is a pro wrestler and has stepped into the ring to compete in independent events, and has also won a real wrestling title, which was the Progress Wrestling Proteus title in April 2025. He got his acting debut as an extra in the movie Virginia and made an impression on director Dustin Lance Black by complimenting his Oscar acceptance speech, which led to Black writing him a larger role. So if there is a moral to be found in that story, it is you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, and you never know what just might happen if you compliment the right people. Now we have Julianne Nicholson, who plays Diane Rawlinson. She is not related to Jack Nicholson, however she is in The Mayor of Easttown as Laurie Ross, Blonde as Gladys, Paradise as Sinatra. In August Osage Country, she plays Ivy Weston. In Togo, she plays Constance Sepala. Dream Scenario, she plays Janet Matthews, and in Janet Planet, she plays Janet. That is a tongue twister and a half for a Sunday morning. Julianne and her husband Jonathan Cake, another fantastic last name, met after playing an on-screen couple in an unaired HBO pilot titled Marriage. So whilst that pilot might have failed, their relationship blossomed. While she is often recognised for her heavy dramatic roles, she won an Emmy in 2025 for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy Series for her role as dance mum Mary Alice in Hacks. The last actor that we're going to be discussing today is Bobby Cannavale, who plays Martin Maddox. You might know him from The Watcher, where he plays Dean Brannock, Man of Fire as Paul Rayburn, Trap House as Andre Washburn, The Station Agent, where he plays Joe Oramus, Scarpetta as Pete Marino, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, where he plays Russell Van Pelt, and lastly Sing 2, where he plays Jimmy Crystal. Bobby went to high school with Brooklyn Nine-Nine star Joe Truglio, and they acted in every play together. His uncle is also the famous Italian actor Enzo Cannavale, who starred in the Academy Award-winning film Cinema Paradiso. Alright, I thought I would go over the real-life Tonya Harding and give you a brief summary of her career without giving too many spoilers for the movie, and yeah, I'll let you make your own decision on the controversy as a whole. Tonya Harding was a single skater who's probably the most controversial figure skater in American history. Unlike most figure skaters, Harding was from a poor family, decidedly from the wrong side of the figure skating tracks. I would also like to preface before I carry on that this is from the Olympic website, so probably quite biased. So I'm just reading what they've written there. She hunted, fished, and was an accomplished auto mechanic, played pool, smoked cigarettes, and was completely outside the skating establishment. But she started skating at a local rink, and her athletic ability made her a great jumper, one of the best in women's skating history. In 1987, Harding had her first major podium with second at Skate America. At that competition, her jumping ability came to the fore as she was the first woman to perform a triple axel in the short program, the first woman to do 2 triple axels in a program, and the first female to perform a triple axel combination with a double toe loop. In 1989, she was third at the US Championships, but her breakthrough year was 1990, where she won Skate America and the Nations Cup. In 1991, she won the US title and was second at the World Championships and the NHK Trophy. Harding was fourth at the 1992 Winter Olympics, and heading into the 1994 season, her biggest rival was Nancy Kerrigan, a much more polished traditional skater, but one without Harding's jumping ability. Now, as always, I'm going to play some iconic scenes and quotes, and I'll be back with some awards and nominations that this film received and some fun behind the scenes facts.
Tonya! Hey, how do I get a fair shot here? Because I'm up at 5 every morning working my ass off. Does someone want to just tell me to my face, you're never going to give me the scores I deserve?
This is how it's done. Some of these girls have paid their dues.
I don't give a shit. I outskated them today.
We also judge on presentation.
Well, you know what? If you can come up with $5,000 for a costume for me, then I won't have to make one. Till then, just stay out of my face.
Maybe you're just not as good as you think. Maybe you should pick another sport.
Suck my dick.
And now we will find out whether she will be the first American to attempt and complete a triple axel jump. We will know that here, whether she tries it or not.
I mean, when I was a kid, did you ever love me or anything?
You think Sonia Henny's mother loved her? Poor fucking you. I didn't stay home making apple brown betties. No, I made you a champion. Knowing you'd hate me for it. That's the sacrifice a mother makes. I wish I'd had a mother like me instead of nice. Nice gets you shit. I didn't like my mother either, so what? I fucking gave you a gift.
You cursed me. You're a monster.
Spilled milk, baby.
You know, in a sport where the friggin' judges want you to be this old-timey version of what a woman's supposed to be. For being the first U.S. woman to land a triple axel. So fuck 'em.
Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed my selection of scenes and quotes. And without further ado, let's move on to some of the awards and nominations that this film received. As always, this is just some of them, as I can't name all of them, but we will start with the Academy Awards, aka the Oscars, where Allison Janney won for Best Supporting Actress, and Margot Robbie was nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role. The film was also nominated for Best Film Editing. At the Golden Globe Awards, they won Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture for Allison Janney. They were also nominated for Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, and Margot was nominated for Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy. At the BAFTA Awards, Allison Janney won once again for Best Actress in a Supporting Role, and Margot was nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role. They were also nominated for Best Original Screenplay, written by Stephen Rogers. They were nominated for Best Costume Design, and Best Hair and Makeup as well. At the Critics' Choice Awards, Allison Janney won for Best Supporting Actress and Margot won for Best Actress in a Comedy. Margot was also nominated for Best Actress, and they were also nominated for Best Comedy and Best Hair and Makeup. At the SAG Awards, or Screen Actor Guild Awards, they won Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Supporting Role. Once again, that was going to Alison Janney, and Margot was nominated for Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Leading Role. As always, I am going to wrap up this episode with some fun behind the scenes facts. Okay, let's start with the fact that Craig Gillespie, the director, worked with the real-life Nancy Kerrigan on a 1993 Campbell's Soup commercial. So I don't know whether that's coincidence, whether they ended up hiring him as the director for this film. I'm assuming they hired him because they knew he had sort of some insight into that time, that period of time in sports. For the training and choreography of the film, they hired Canadian figure skater Sarah Kawaharar, who has worked with dozens of high-level skaters, also including Nancy Kerrigan. So again, they made sure that they had a lot of experience on set, which I imagine is what made this movie that much more special, because they had people with real insight into what was going on at the time and working with those athletes themselves. They used beer to give Tonya's hair that crunchy, crispy look of the 70s through to the 90s, which I can't imagine smelt very nice, but it obviously worked, as their nominations for hair and makeup were numerous. As I mentioned, I did say that I would go over Margot's training for this movie. She actually herniated a disc in her neck and said that had she not also been a producer on the film, she would have quit. But she said that the project couldn't afford that, so she was shot up with steroids for the pain and received a weekly MRI to determine whether or not she could continue filming. That is some extreme dedication, and I don't imagine she or anyone else would recommend that you go to that length. However, you can see her dedication in the film, and the training definitely paid off, and I hope that that herniated disc did fix itself over time. And lastly, to finish things off, screenwriter Stephen Rogers interviewed both Tonya and Jeff in real life, but their stories were so contradictory that it led to him deciding to lean into the uncertainty and tell the story from everyone's point of view, which led to that sort of confessional style and cut between the storytelling and interviews, which is what makes this movie so different and so special. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode, and as always, I thank you very much for listening in, and please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and if you're on Spotify, I hope that you will follow and leave a like as well. I will see you in the next episode. Bye!